What a mess. What?
Yeah, I'm going to check my... Oh, it's fine. Live! Where are we? Live from... Oh, we're still here. Live from Glass Lewis's favorite pair of off-green Crocs. Why do they have to be off-green? Why is that part of the joke? Why is that even funny? Maybe it's not funny. Does that enhance the joke if they're off-green?
I thought the Crocs were the joke part. Who wears Crocs?
What about Glass Lewis? What about anyone referring to Glass Lewis in the first person? It's an all-new, terrific... Well, it's not Tuesday. Okay, it's a wacky Wednesday edition of Business Pants, joined by analyst Matt Moscardi on today's ESG-spiced kangaroo pouch called August 27th. 2025, the good game. Yay! All right, let's get right into it.
So just for point of reference, we did try to do the good game yesterday.
5 times.
On Tuesday, 5 times, and our podcast platform failed. So
the podcast
let's
platform,
do it,
but not the platform
time.
that sponsors our show, which is our show today is being sponsored by FreeFloatAnalytics.com.
Yes, they never fail.
The only platform measuring board power connections and performance for free. In fact, they don't fail. Occasionally, when my computer's done some kind of updates or something, or Chrome has done something, I do have to sign out and sign back in. That's it. There's no... It won't ruin your podcasting abilities.
That's true.
That's on your own. You'll do that on your own. Because you're probably boring.
Yourself up.
You're probably mush mouth, and you probably stutter like I do. So let's get to the good game. For any new listeners, I hope we have a couple. This is how the good game works. When you spend as much time in the headlines like we do, and we're not even looking purely at political headlines, it gets a little depressing.
Really?
So back in the day, my mom said, "Can you guys do anything that's not horrible and terrible?" It makes me want to, off myself.
I like we have an entire game show for your mom.
So we came up with the good game. I find headlines that seem good at their appearance, and then Matt, our arbiter of truth, steps in and gives me a score, whether they're actually good or not. You'll see as the game goes on.
You'll see, because it'll average out to a 6 in the end.
Yeah, and there's some confusing ones this week, so it'll be interesting to see how Matt handles these. Let's start right at the top, because this is the most confusing one probably that you'll face all week. U.S. Senator Sanders, that's Bernie Sanders. You might have probably heard of him.
I heard
Bernie,
of Bernie.
They call him
Bernie.
He favors Trump plan to take stake in Intel and other chip makers. Here's the quote from Bernie.
Whoa.
Yeah, right? The left and the right coming together here.
What is happening?
If microchip companies make a profit from the generous grants they receive from the federal government, the taxpayers of America have a right to a reasonable return on that investment, end quote. That's from Bernie. So is this good? If Bernie... Now, originally, all the people on the left in the ESG world are upset about this move, but does Bernie liking it change it? Is it good now? Is it good now?
Look,
was it ever good? Was it always good?
And there's a lot of layers right there. It's just like an onion. I don't know if this is good at all. Look, all I want is some consistency, because Trump is supposed to be all free market, and it's not. It is pay Trump to be in the market, right? So it's
he's free market and soft dictator, so it's a difficult combination there, right?
Effectively, the Republicans would never call it a tax, but that's all he's doing. He's taxing companies. He's taking 15% of NVIDIA chips to China. That's a tax. That's a 15% tax on NVIDIA, one company's selling stuff to China. He's taking effectively an equity version of a tax in Intel because he gave them some money.
But without voting rights, right? Am I clear about that? There are no voting rights.
In Intel, it looks like there's no voting rights. But in the Nippon Steel, U.S. Steel combination, they have a golden share.
Right.
So he took that, right?
So to your point, everything is constantly being made up week to week.
We are literally making it up. All I want is consistency. So it's not that I disagree with Bernie. I would be fine if every company that took out some level of grant from the U.S. government had to give the government an equity stake in that company.
Definitely agree
it would also mean that Tesla owes the U.S. government 30% of Tesla, right? Because the subsidies that Tesla got floated it. SpaceX, they don't exist without U.S. grants. They don't exist. In fact, and Musk has said as much. So then we should have equity stakes in them.
But
too.
Matt,
Should-
that would take a lot of rule making. That would take smart people. That would take regulations. I don't know if the Trump administration has that in them. I don't. I think it's easier for them to make stuff up as it goes. Is it not?
but either it ends up being like something that we do when we support a company or industry as a country, that we take a stake in that company's outcomes, or it's a bailout or a tax, and it's just random. We're just throwing shit at the wall, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? I can make a deal here. I'm going to wheel and deal. Give me 10%. Give me 12%. Give me 1%. 15% tax on this. Give me a golden share. Like
You're
it's
joking, but you're not joking. That is
it's
actually
so
what's happening.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's it's the stupidest
And
way
as-
to do business.
And as we found, suddenly now we know one thing that CEO and boards they won't fight for. They're usually pretty good at remaining autonomous. They're usually pretty good at defying expectations, stakeholder expectations. Suddenly now they kind of just do what the administration says. They don't really fight back about anything anymore.
That to me, you're right, is the weirdest part. Boards are about keeping the status quo. They keep their own power. Like they
Especially
don't
if
want,
someone's telling them what to do.
and it's like like the market likes the status quo. Like they like rules that they know they're going to follow. Volatility, fine, we can but that's market like volatility. What they want is rule status quo. We know who the rich people are. We know who the poor people are. We know how decisions get made. We know that this company is going to build things that that will get bought, and we can trade on those built the things widgets they built. We like that status quo, but these boards are all bending over and capitulating because they think it's cheaper than fighting.
I finally figured out a way to get rid of Jay Hogue at Netflix. Don't have the shareholders vote him out repeatedly. Just have Trump call, and then Jay will be
One
gone.
phone call,
He'll
he's
be gone.
What, but that's the fundamental problem that's happening. So it's like this isn't a question of whether or not I agree with Bernie.
All right, well, give me a score. Is this good? What about the
This
government?
is a 5. I don't know. What
Yeah,
do
it's
I
hard to know, right?
It's impossible to know. Like this,
Yeah.
it's you can say that. Like I think if we give some money to these companies, we should get a stake in them. Great, then take stakes in fucking all of them. Don't do it.
I think
in
we should start by-
one-off with the board that's willing to bend over. Take them in all of them. Then
I think we should start by having local municipalities take stakes in their sports teams and their stadiums.
Well, I mean, think about the reality. Like, where do you draw the line? So you built a road to go to the Intel plant.
Yep.
The Intel can't. They would have had to build that road themselves. Do we toll that road?
I
So
like
we
this-
take a stake, right?
This is
Are
actually a
we-
great analogy because I think actually Elizabeth Warren in the last few years actually made a similar proposal to take a stake. I think it was Intel actually, if I'm not mistaken. And Elizabeth Warren's her great metaphor she always uses is about the roads, right? She talks about who built the roads and who maintains the roads and et cetera,
I actually
et cetera.
saw a conversation with the head of the Libertarian Party, a woman whose name I'm forgetting. It was one of the most forgettable conversations that I've ever heard. But she did.
Karen McCarran.
One of the things she was complaining about was the
Yeah.
argument of the roads. And she was
Really?
like, we would build, like, the government builds roads incredibly inefficiently. And I was like, I'm sorry. Are you saying private markets build better roads than the
Yeah.
government? Like, I don't,
No, that's-
like,
we
there's
know
no
that's not
evidence to the thing you're saying. Like, there's
Because
not
go
a
to-
single bit of evidence.
Yeah, go to Europe, lady, and you'll see that they build roads like overnight. They're
They-
so efficient
It
at
turns out
building.
you can build roads.
Every time I go to Europe, I yell and scream. My family hates me. I'm always swearing because they build like subway lines in like a month. Like their ability to create infrastructure is off the charts, and none of
Well,
it's private.
It blew my mind because it was like, know that if you don't pay taxes to build the roads because you don't want to pay taxes, then yes, the roads don't get built. And then you say the government is not good at building roads. Like, I'm not sure. But that notwithstanding, this whole thing, we are talking about whether or not the market is nationalized effectively. It is the market of Donald Trump doing wheeling and dealing at random companies when he feels like it. Or whether or not it is a rules-based market in which we all know the rules and we can make trades and expect growth and invest the way we want.
I don't want to go off on a long tangent here, but this is why the fight in the South and in red states against ESG data. This is why another example of why that's so horrible
It
and
makes
stupid.
no sense. It's so stupid.
Because once again, you're just making up things as we go along. So why would one set of data not be important over another set? Why can he do that? Anyway, let's move on.
It's
too
a
much time.
5.
This doesn't feel good. I feel like the good game's off to a bad start. Let's try out on this one. Here's the headline. Mark Zuckerberg gifted.
Is that the part that makes it good?
That seems
Because
good.
It's a gift.
Noise canceling headphones to his Palo Alto neighbors because of the nonstop construction around his 11 homes.
Oh no! How does that? You're putting that in there ironically, right?
Well, I don't know. I guess.
I do
I
want
don't know
to
what
say
I'm
something.
doing anymore. Yeah.
I saw this headline, and the first thing I did as an ESG governance analyst was I went to Redfin and I looked
Oh.
up property in Palo Alto next to or in that neighborhood. It's like
Yeah.
the Crescent neighborhood, Crescent Wood or something.
Crescent. Yeah.
There is a property for sale, 1777 Woodland Ave. It is a 65 bedroom, 47 bath
Wait, what?
condominium,
Oh, wait.
like whole
separate
massive
units?
complex.
Like
yeah, all
se-
separate units. It's a giant, like it was a hotel or it's a massive
Okay.
complex. It is going for $13.5 million.
That's it? Yeah.
Zuckerberg could
Wait,
buy the
that's it?
whole thing
I don't understand.
and
Yeah.
move his neighbors there where
Okay,
it's
Matt,
quieter.
okay. You've lost me. Yeah.
You're with me. You think it's a great idea.
So you want him to move his neighbors as opposed to just buying them noise canceling headphones? I think Mark is the smart one in this one.
Well, I think the noise canceling headphones is like an FU to the neighbors, but
Yeah.
if he bought them a place
Give
to
me a
go
score.
where
Is this good
it's
or bad?
quiet.
Is this good?
This is horrible. It's a 0. What do you say?
I know. I realized the first few this game gets better later
This
because
is why
the
it's a
first
6. You see
the
way
first
it's-
ones are confusing. This next one's going to be confusing too, based on how the story has already changed this morning. I'll deliver the story as it was yesterday, and then I'll update you as to what happened this morning. And of course, I should have predicted this. Cracker Barrel under fire from MAGA, apologizes to fans, but will not drop new logo. The statement says, if the last few days have shown us anything, it's how deeply people care about Cracker Barrel. You've also shown us that we could do a better job sharing who we are and who we'll always be. I don't even, what
Crackers?
are they?
You mean old,
I don't even
tiny
know.
old guys
Like
in
grilled
overalls?
cheese sandwiches and like factory beef burgers. I don't even know. But then they said that they're not gonna change the logo because, to your point, Matt, you said on a previous show, their customer base is aging and they want to attract a new generation of customers, which makes sense to me because if you're not in a pocket in the South or old, you wouldn't even want to go in there in the first place. Like I see that sign and I see like the dust and the hay out front, and I don't think that. I think it's not for me. I think it's like maybe dangerous.
Really? You think not? You think not?
The same reason why I don't want to go to Texas Roadhouse when it's like surrounded by like massive pickup trucks and there's like hay and peanut shells and
longhorn antler.
and they're killing the cow out front. But anyway, so I wondered if that's good that they're not bowing under to MAGA pressure. But then this morning, Matt, the next headline is Cracker Barrel scraps new logo after outrage from customers and Trump. So they are going back to the original logo. And of all things, they communicated the plan directly to the White House.
Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. This
I mean,
gets us back to the first one.
rebranding exercise, and let's not forget another little tidbit that we unearthed here. And this again, this is not how the good game is work. Like the good game is off the rails because this is not how it should be working. But this is not the original logo of the company. Can we at least establish that too? This is not the original logo.
Can we establish that the logo redesign was not woke or not woke? It was literally taking an old picture of a guy that you could like and saying like, let's just use the words. We could put the old guy in the store everywhere, but does he have to be like in the words? This is the stupidest thing to be outraged about. Here's the part I hate the most about this
Yeah, this is
story.
again the good game has gone
This
off
is a
the
zero.
rails.
It's a
and
zero.
this is
It's
not
a
my
straight up
fault
zero.
because all right, can you before you get to explaining your zero, what would have you given it as a score
I
if
would have
they
given it a 10.
if they kept the brand? So
If
that's
they
not
ke-
fair. I am calling this is not fair. You're ruining my game then.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I
should
would have given it
deleted
a
this
10,
one.
and then
All
I would
right.
have been apologizing on the Friday show because I gave it a 10.
Okay, just get to your
It's a
reasoning
female-powered
quickly.
board. I would have been like,
Female
that's who's going to
CEO.
stand up to Trump. And
Yeah.
instead, what they're doing is they're calling Trump and saying, we're going to change it back. Don't worry. And then they're making a press release saying, we'll change it back. Here's the worst part of the story. This is what gives it a 0. On Wednesday, the 20th of August, the stock was trading at $59, give or take. They announced the logo on the next day, Thursday. The stock drops to $50.76. It drops a full $9. It's like 18, 19%. It
Really?
drops. They announced overnight that they're going back to the logo.
Yeah.
The stock in pre-market hours trading at $61, trading at a higher number than before the logo changed in the first place. Nothing fundamental has changed about this
Well,
company. Zero
Well,
fundamental.
Most
things.
importantly, and this is something that MAGA has missed, is that the company, everyone wants the company to get back to its roots. The company has been struggling, and it has been under fire from one of its investors for about a decade. And as we have pointed out over and over and over, one of the key industries in America that is failing constantly is the restaurant businesses,
Restaurants, of
restaurant
course.
chains. They are going bankrupt all the time. There's nothing to recapture here. This company, this restaurant needs to move into the future. It absolutely does need to change. So I don't
do you
know what
know-
we're going. Yeah.
I looked this up the other day when the
we move
the
on?
logo was changed. Do
Yeah.
you know what a Cracker Barrel is? Talk
I don't
about
want to know.
failing.
Again, it sounds like a hate crime for someone from the Northeast.
It was traditionally a barrel full of soda crackers, saltines.
Oh, I like crackers.
That literally it was a barrel with
Yeah.
saltine crackers in it, and people would play checkers next to it. Like
Oh.
that. It was like,
They're too dumb to learn chess. Is that what you're saying?
Can we just admit that the days that anyone thought saltines was food and anyone played checkers are long done?
All right,
Can we live in
let's
the
wrap up.
21st century?
I want to wrap up the Cracker
This is
Barrel
zero.
story with
I
this.
hate
This
it.
is one of my
I hate
favorite.
it.
One
Vote
of my
this
favorite.
entire board out.
One of my favorite subplots of the American Christians is this: is first of all they worship a Jewish man, Jesus, and a Jewish God, which is Jesus' dad, right? I mean, they're Jewish.
Yeah, pops. Yeah.
The guy's name in this Cracker Barrel logo that they're all want to keep is Uncle Herschel. Herschel that's a Jewish name. It's Yiddish. Herschel.
No, that's
a
seems
Jew.
To be an apocryphal.
Uncle
tale.
Herschel is a Jew. Come on. What's wrong with you Christians? Why are you worshiping so many Jews? All right, let's move on.
Why do you care so much about a mustard-colored logo? Fucking go out and do something in the world.
All right.
It's a 0.
I think the good game is going to turn a corner now. Maine's okay. I'm doing this mostly because I live in Maine, but I love this story. Maine's populist Senate candidate thinks we are in a new Gilded Age.
Yeah, it's a 10. I love this guy.
His name is Graham Plantner. He's an oyster farmer. He's running against Susan Collins, and he says, "quote I think the comparisons between the late 19th century and now are apt. Vast amounts of wealth and regulatory structures that in no way, shape, or form keep that wealth in check." He's pointing to the power of people like Elon Musk and other Silicon Valley leaders. And he's talking about the power that they have over the current administration. Basically, he's talking about everything we just talked about with Intel. He's saying that it's all sort of bent to help this class. And you talked about this before. You talked about this like Gilded. In fact, didn't you tell me recently to go watch some Gilded Age documentary that you were
The
seeing
PBS documentary on the
Yeah.
Gilded Age.
So
Fabulous.
so you must agree with this sentiment, and I just can't
love
believe that I can't believe that he's being allowed to talk about this.
Well, I can't believe you sent on our Slack channels the screenshot of him on
That's
what
even
I'm
better.
guessing
That one's
is
even
X.
better. Yeah.
and somebody asked, just curious where you
Just
stand
read
on LGBTQIA plus rights and freedoms. And he responded, I stand right in the fucking way of anyone who's going to try to come after the freedoms of the
Look,
LGBTQIA
yeah,
plus community.
yeah. So this is something we've been struggling for on the show. Is like, why is everyone like, why are we stopping the fight, and how do we fight back? I think this guy's doing a pretty good job of it.
And
That's
just
exactly how you fight back.
And before you think he's like some woke New Englander, he's a fucking oyster farmer. Right?
And a
Like,
veteran, and a war veteran, a
and
war
an
veteran.
oyster farmer.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing woke about him. He's just a get your shit out of leave people alone, get your shit out of their backyard, and the wealth should not be
Well, let's
accumulated
be-
in one place. I think
Let-
he's fabulous.
I don't want to get deep into the woke thing, but I mean, isn't America itself kind of founded in a woke way? Isn't the whole thing woke? I mean, isn't
on.
our whole history woke?
But the conversation now, we literally are talking about an old white guy in a logo.
Yeah.
And like that's what the conversation
This is what's
is.
important. Yeah. All right.
It's
Let's
a 10.
continue the
It's a
game.
10.
Speaking of the woke wars, this is like a big MAGA signal of everything we've been talking about in this show. The headline is Lisa Cook. Do you know who Lisa Cook is?
Federal Reserve, Lisa Cook.
Yeah, Federal Reserve Director Lisa Cook says she will not step down from the Fed board. She says, quote, I will not resign. I will continue to carry out my duties to help the American economy as I have been doing since 2022. This is in response to Donald Trump, who has tried to fire her by posting a letter on social media. And just to be clear, not only she's the first black woman on that board, she's the only black woman. I mean, this is, again, we've been talking about how what a lot of the new meritocracy is, a lot of the anti-woke is really just getting rid of women and people of color who are in leadership positions. I mean,
well, here's the confusing part. Does Trump know that Philip Jefferson, the vice chair of the board, and Michelle Bowman, the vice chair for supervision on the board of the Fed, one's a black man and one's a woman? She's a white woman, but a woman. Is he just going for Lisa Cook because she's a black woman first? She gets the twofer
that's
done.
the best target. That's the
It's
best
the
target,
easiest
yeah.
target, and then he works his way through the white woman, and then considers tolerating the black guy.
If you want to get
the
deep
order of
into
operations?
If you want to get deep into the ESG analysis on this, there actually I've seen studies, I've seen research done about the people that he attacks on social media. That's the only place I guess he speaks, but he does actually go after black women the most, and
of course.
But also, like, a lot of the cities that he's threatening to send troops to are run by black mayors. I mean, this is his actual pattern.
The colleges that he forced to capitulate
that's right.
were run by black or run by women or black
well,
women.
the Harvard
right?
was a black woman, or Claudine Gay, or women. Yeah, you're right. This is absolutely,
in general, it's women. So,
and this is good old fashioned ESG data, and I know they love ESG data because you reported on how the White House is now keeping a list of its favorite companies. It has a methodology
they have a scorecard.
for scoring.
They have a scorecard.
Yeah.
They have an actual scorecard.
MSCI.
They have a methodology and scorecard. It's an ESG scorecard. Look, ladies, we did research showing that black women of all cohorts on boards currently have the most merit on paper, as in they have the most experience of leadership experience. They have, a core knowledge, deep, expertise in the industries that they sit in. They are well connected inside of board circles. There's all sorts of elements here where you can show that black women are the most merited board seats. This black woman is not different. She, on paper, has everything you'd ever want in a Federal Reserve person, right? Like, there's nothing that she shouldn't, no reason why she shouldn't be here. But they're coming after you. I don't know what it's going to take for everyone to kind of wake up and say, we have to stop talking
Fight
about
back.
it quietly and back
Yeah.
channels, or this is happening. What should we do? You have to fucking fight. You don't have a choice, because otherwise you're all out. In fact, Christian nationalists are proposing now to get rid of the women's vote, like the federal vote, the right to vote.
Okay, now you're making the good game derail again. What's your score on Lisa Cook saying no? I'm not.
I
No.
love that she's saying no. That's also a 10. She should say no forever.
Well,
And if she needs money to help fund her say no, I don't care if she did low level mortgage fraud, even like there's no evidence of it. I don't even care if she did because Donald Trump is the president who did mortgage fraud.
Yeah, was
He
convicted
didn't lose
for it.
his job.
Yeah.
She shouldn't lose her job if he doesn't lose his job.
Before we move on, there was a post on the Harvard Law School Forum on Corporate Governance. This is from Equilar. We're looking at new board appointments filled by women in the Russell 3000 in Q2 2024 last year. That's when the proxy season's really, churning.
Kicks off, yeah.
36% of new board appointments were filled by women. Jump ahead just 1 year to Q2 2025, down to 26% in 1 year.
Unbelievable.
That's very significant. That's very important.
Huge change.
And this is something that we have anecdotally been trying to capture in all of our shows, especially on the Proxy Countdown. This is important. This is the quiet way that they're attacking women.
Yeah,
It's not
down to
it's
two.
not the loud way that Trump, the misogynist Trump, screaming at Rosie O'Donnell or whatever. This is the very quiet way that corporate America and their boards and their nomination committee chairs and their board chairs are all are tacitly agreeing, saying, "Yeah, I think we should stop appointing so many women. I think you're right."
You know what? They're not even doing that. It's sneakier than that because in of a majority of the cases, they are expanding the board by bylaw. They are allowed to expand and contract the board occasionally. They expand the board, and every new seat goes to a man. That's the way they're getting away with it. So even when they don't,
Well, that's
a
another.
new
That's a
woman
different way of getting away with it. That's a
right?
different
Like
way,
it's
yeah.
all small ways to chip away at progress. So, ladies, I love you. While you're busy like doing like lessons on how to be the better board person, which you are already overqualified. Trust me when I tell you, when we look at boards constantly, you're already overqualified for the positions. They're taking away the seats. You'll be so well trained and there'll be no seats for you because they're using every possible way to limit the power of anyone who might come from a different background, might
right.
have different genitals.
Moving on, the good game, August 27th.
The angry game.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think
ramped
we're
up.
I think
Let's
we're
get it
turning
done.
the corner here. Let's focus on the good now. Here's the headline: Meta defector. This is a weird way to describe someone. Meta defector issues devastating psychological takedown of tech CEOs. That's Nick Clegg. We've talked about Nick Clegg a lot. He's a former Meta executive who left the company at the beginning of the year. The takeaway quote here is, "If you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression." Now here, let me go a little bit deeper so you understand the context of this quote. He says, "You'd think, wouldn't you?" This is Nick Clegg talking, and this is a guy who's from the Conservative Party, right, in the UK.
Yeah, he was
who was a buddy of Zuck for a while.
Instrumental in making Zuck more conservative.
So this is what happens to you if you spend too much time, I guess, with Zuck and the tech bros. You start to lose your mind. He said, quote, "You'd think, wouldn't you, that if you were immensely powerful and rich like Elon Musk and all these other tech bros and members of that podcast community,
Ooh.
that you'd reflect on your good fortune compared with most other people. Instead, Clegg they cry persecution."
Yeah, they do that.
He said, "In Silicon Valley, far from thinking they're lucky, they think they're hard done by, that they think they're victims, and they get into this incredibly deeply unattractive combination of machismo and self-pity." And
Yeah.
again, the great takeaway quote here is you think
Man
that
pity.
you think if you're accustomed to privilege, so when you become accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. And that's right? This is the manosphere circling back to this bullshit idea of a meritocracy, which they don't back up with any data. There's no criteria to their meritocracy. This is what's happening. The equality feels like oppression. When this is why we're turning our backs on DEI. Because they're again, he sums it up way better than I do. I'm a
I don't know.
stuttering mess.
I love the idea of man pity. I love it.
I'm surprised.
Nice shorthand.
I love this. I love this. I wonder where we'll go with this with Nick Clegg. But what do you think about this story?
Well, where we go with it is they have all of the money and all the man pity.
Well,
And
maybe
if you
Nick.
cornered the market on money and man pity, you can do a lot of really heinous things.
Well, maybe
to
Nick
the
could
people you
join.
think challenge you.
Maybe Nick can join my intellectual fight for a few things. First of all, we can ensure, we can regulate, we can make sure that listing exchanges don't allow companies with dual class shares with voting out of whack voting privileges. One share, one vote is what I'm trying to
I
say.
love that you're persecuted with dual class shares.
Yeah,
we vote you out.
we can also create sunset clauses for all these founders. No CEO shouldn't also be chairs. We can work on this. Nick is what I'm trying to say. Call me,
Nick, come on the
and
pod.
I'll come up with a list of 10 different things.
Come
All right,
on
well, give
our
me a score.
podcast. Let's
Give me a
talk
score.
about
I
it.
want to move on.
I like this, but it's something we know, so I can't give it like a 10. It's like a 7. It's good. It's nice
Oh.
that he's saying it because it might have a little bit more oomph
Okay,
to it. But 6
let's
minutes
do-
from now, he's going to be out of the circle, and no one's going to talk about him again.
Now I'm going to present you the antidote to the Cracker Barrel story. This is at Red Lobster. The quote is: "Red Lobster is betting on
How like
black."
Wait a minute.
What?
You just New England Red
Okay, I'm
Lobster.
sorry.
Red Lobster.
I'm sorry. I'm going to repeat this. Red Lobster is betting on black diners with its brand comeback.
Ooh.
So this is CEO Damola Adamalukan, who
Yeah, he's new.
apologize for screwing up that name. He is a Nigerian American who is credited with rescuing P.F. Chang. So he actually has a track record in this.
I got to wait. He rescued PF
Well, I
Chang's?
guess
Anyone
I
go to
guess
PF
he
Chang's?
I guess he's like the Brian Cornell of Chipotle. Like he turned around P.F. Chang's.
No,
yeah, I mean maybe
Nickel,
he did rescue
Brian
it.
Nickel.
Yeah, what did I say? Brian Cornell.
Cornell. Yeah, you got Target on the mind.
So let me tell you a little bit about the background. Let me tell you about Red Lobster's roots. Red Lobster has been a part of America. So that they actually started at the same time that Cracker Barrel did, 1968. And just 4 years after the passage of the Civil Rights Act, many restaurants in the South, many of the Red Lobsters were still segregated, but Red Lobster embraced diversity, opening its doors to black customers and hiring black workers. So I wonder, are we gonna? Will there be a backlash against this? I don't know. I captured the story when I thought that Cracker Barrel actually was telling people to screw off, and they were keeping their logo. So
Here's my question. Actually.
now I'm just confused by everything. Yeah, go ahead.
if they remove the lobster from the Red Lobster logo, is that woke?
What if they made the lobster black?
If they make it black, that's definitely woke. That's not a question.
Yeah.
The question is, like, if they were look, this is great,
What?
and of course, it takes a black man to recognize the history.
But why? Why is this? Why is he allowed to do this? The female CEO at Cracker Barrel couldn't get away with trying to move her company into the future. Trying to find more customers. Why does he get to find more customers?
Okay, well, have you ever seen a map of where Red Lobsters are versus a map of where Cracker Barrels are?
Well, I've never actually. I've seen Red Lobsters. I've never seen a Cracker Barrel.
Correct. Red Lobster exists in places that you and I have been, where Red Lobsters do not, or
All right.
Cracker Barrels.
But that's not
kinda
really the
don't.
point. But she has every right. Forgive me, I've forgotten the name of the woman, the CEO at Cracker Barrel. But she has every right to actually look for new customers, wouldn't you say? I mean, do you want a customer base that is just one specific type of Southern white person? I mean, this is America.
Nobody's arguing that she doesn't have the right.
Well, I think that MAGA is arguing that she doesn't have the right. It ruins the heritage of their beloved company.
Yeah, there's that word again, heritage.
Yeah,
There's
heritage.
A lot of man pity built.
And by the
into
way,
word
people,
heritage.
it's a company. I mean, it's a for-profit restaurant. I mean, it's not part of your
And
heritage.
just so you know, heritage Cracker Barrelists.
Oh no, I brought it back to Cracker Barrel. I shouldn't have.
I know. You Cracker Barrel wants other people to eat there that didn't grow up with
Because
Cracker
the company
Barrels.
is struggling.
The company, no one eats there. And guess what?
The average
I am
age is
never going to
dis-
eat there now.
Matt discovered what the customer is over 55.
The
like, something like
average
that?
age of the customers is 55 years
That's not
old.
gonna
That's the
work. It's not gonna
average
work.
age. Most
Yeah.
of the customers are dying right now. They've gone
Yeah.
from 5% decrease in foot traffic to like 7%. They just nobody
What-
goes.
What
Nobody
they
goes.
want, what she wants, and what every restaurant wants is the scenario at my house where I yell at my children for constantly bringing home Chipotle, even though we have a packed fridge full of food that I've just bought. Like that's what you want. You want me yelling at them, being like, "Stop going to Cracker Barrel so much. I know you're just a teenager, but stop going to Cracker Barrel so much." That's what they want. Anyway, give me a score on Red Lobster betting on
one's
black
tough.
diners.
This one's tough. I was just so pissed about Cracker Barrel too. 'Cause
I know.
now
Get off
they're-
of it. Come
They're
on.
fucking crowing about it. Like the Republicans are out there being like, "See, we crushed this company." That was horrible. Nobody went. I love this. And just for point of reference, I did look it up. There are roughly 20 Red Lobsters in the New York City, greater New York City area. There's roughly one Cracker Barrel in New Jersey, and that's the closest it gets to New York City.
Yeah.
So
well,
so
yeah.
this guy's just doing the smart thing, which is
Well,
saying
she was
we
trying
need to sell more fucking lobster.
To be fair, she was the Cracker
She
Barrel
did the
CEO
smart thing.
was
and
trying
then,
to do the smart
and then
thing.
reversed it. Reversed it. Why? Because the stock went down like 18% on a logo, which 6 months from
Well,
now,
the stock's gonna go down
zero
if
people will
restaurant sales
remember.
suck.
The
What's
people
your
who were
score?
yelling at you do not eat at Cracker Barrel.
Go to
They
Red Lobster.
don't.
Give me a score on Red Lobster.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Moving on. Oh God, I don't know how you're gonna take this one. This is a weird one. The headline is "The Woke Words That Democrats Should Cut from Their Vocabulary." This is
Who wrote
from
that.
this is from a new memo from an organization called the Third Way that identifies 45 words and phrases for Democrats to avoid, alleging that terms turn voters off. So this is Democrats saying to other Democrats, stop using woke terms because we're losing elections because of it. They cover 6 categories. I'm going to turn this into a little game. They cover 6 categories: therapy speak, seminar room language, organizer jargon, gender orientation correctness, the shifting language of racial constructs, and explaining away crime. I want to know, Matt, of these 45 words, how many words do I think that we've used on our shows out of the 45?
Is that what I'm rating on a 0 to 10
Sure.
scale?
Yeah.
I think
And then no, I want you to rate. Do you think that should Democrats start to get rid of some of this work terminology? Do you
no,
agree?
I don't like it.
Is this
Are
why
we
we're
all
losing
word policing
elections?
because everyone's a fucking snowflake? We can't.
But how many
hear
of the 45 words
anymore?
do you think we've used? How woke are we?
I'm gonna give this a 5 as a headline.
And how woke do you think we are?
How woke do I think we are?
45
I'm sure,
terms. What percentage?
I'm sure we said some of them, maybe 15%. Well, wait. Emma Lurking included on the show? Like,
I'm
I don't
talking
know, for
about
long-time
now.
listeners of the show, we used to
Yeah.
have Emma Lurking was on the
I
show.
love
She was
Emma.
our intern many years
Yeah.
ago.
No, we're talking about now.
Okay, now.
I gotta be honest with you. I went to the wokest college in the universe, Oberlin, and I looked at this list. I was like, I don't recognize half these terms.
I'm going to say like 2 of the 45.
I mean, I was a
We don't
black
say a lot of woke
studies.
stuff.
I was a black studies minor. I studied. I took 15 hours of course credits in the shifting language of racial constructs, and I still don't know what the hell these people are talking about.
Does it count if I said something like, "Oh, that story really triggered you" as a
Okay.
joke?
Yes, I actually
counts?
included the word triggering because I think we've used trigger to say that we don't like things.
I
Well,
use that as a joke when
so
you
here are
get
the-
all upset about what story.
So here are the 3 words. Okay, I'm gonna just reveal the answer to this quiz. We've only used 3 words, 3 out of 45 words.
Less than 10%. I like that.
So here are the words that I think we've used. We've used triggering, or some version of trigger. I know we've done that. For some reason, stakeholders is one of the words.
What?
We've definitely used stakeholders.
We use that on a daily basis.
They call that organizer jargon, which is
It's not.
and the other
You
word I'm
morons.
sure we've used is patriarchy. So I'm giving us 3. I'm sure we've used patriarchy before. That's 3. So I guess we're not woke, right? We're not. I feel
guess-
disappointed by this.
Are we?
Give me a score
yeah.
of this, though. Do you agree?
5. It's
All
a
right,
5.
okay.
I don't know how I feel about like policing stupid terminology. First of all, the terms were dumb to begin with, so I agree that cutting some of them
Let's
is
move on.
not a bad idea. But
Let's do a super nerdy headline. Korea passes boardroom reform curbing tribal power.
all right, don't tell me
Chable?
anymore.
Chable.
Chable, and I don't need to know anymore. I'm just going to say it's a 10.
Yeah, if you look, there's a lot to cover here. We're not going to do the whole thing right now.
We should do it on the proxy countdown. We're going to
Okay,
restart
because
that next week
there
anyway.
there are a lot of changes, but most of it is just getting some of the power away from the family-owned conglomerates and making sure that shareholders and independent directors have more power. Basically, it's
I love it.
creating a better counterbalance.
I love
And
it.
basically-
It's a good start.
Basically, exactly what I just said about the Nick Clegg story. It's basically addressing some of those concerns because the bros in Silicon Valley they're basically family-owned
taking them
conglomerates
away.
at this point,
Yeah,
right?
they're fake public.
They're basically
companies.
families. They're like mafia families
Yeah.
in the sense that. All right, let's move on. That you gave it a 10. I want to try
Yeah,
to
it's a
speed
10.
this show a little bit. How about this one? I don't know if you're going to call this greenwashing or not. United Health forms new public responsibility board committee.
Oh, really?
The board committee it will cover areas where United Health has struggled or faced public scrutiny,
like ripping off its customers.
including underwriting and forecasting, regulatory relationships, reputational matters, and M&A. That's a diverse set of things they're going to cover. The woman Michelle Hooper, who has been on the board since 2007, that's almost 2 decades. She's going to step down as lead independent director. Yes, she was the lead independent director, even though she's been there for 2 decades, and she's going to chair this committee. So she's still on the board, but she's going to shift her role to chair this committee. So I don't know. Do you want someone who's been there for 2 decades?
Look, this is the
I gotta laugh
brilliance
at
of the
that.
press release, right?
Yeah.
Because they say the board's forming this committee, and it makes you think this is great. They're starting to pay attention to these problems. However, on this board, the people have not changed, including Stephen Hemsley, who was the CEO of this company, then executive chair of this company for literally 20 years, and now is the temporary interim quote unquote CEO again. They're propping up a public responsibility committee, and they're making a big show out of it. When
Seems
really
good,
what
though.
happened, what happened is the lead independent director on the board, Michelle Hooper, who is a black woman, is moving from lead independent director to head of this committee, leaving no lead independent director. Do they name a
No,
new
they
lead
okay.
independent-
This is the other kind of funny part of this. The new lead independent director, who's been there for 7 years, is Mr. Passive Investor himself, the former CEO of Vanguard, F. William McNabb.
Billy McNabb, yeah.
Yeah. So just someone who's just going to have no thoughts about anything and just going to let the board do what it wants anyway, because that's what Vanguard does. It's just Mr. Passive.
Look, nothing has actually changed. If you expect different outcomes because you have a new committee with the same exact people who made the shit decisions that got you here,
Yeah.
you're
This
not
is
going to
a-
get
this is a
different
classic
outcomes.
reshuffling. Yeah.
This is really fabulous
This
reshuffling.
is like you own a sneaker store and you have like some Nikes that are in the window that aren't selling, and it's like, well, let's move them to the other window. Maybe they'll sell better over there.
Let's put them on the public responsibility committee and then try to sell them.
Well, this is how the good game works its best, because that headline seems good, because I actually have been advocating a lot. I think that boards need to create new committees to address important issues of 2025. So that's why I thought maybe this is a good thing that they're forming a new board committee, because this is what the board's here to do, to provide independent oversight of important shit that comes up. But so the arbiter of truth steps in and says, no, that's not actually good. What's your score here?
It's a 2. It's a 2.
All right, let's move on. We can go a little bit more quickly. Feel free. The U.S. EV fast charging network is seeing explosive growth despite Trump's policies. I like this one.
Yeah. Because people like EVs. Even though you're trying to kill the entire industry, people like them. I'm glad. I hate that they switched to Tesla chargers, mostly, as an EV owner, because now we're all at Elon Musk's mercy.
Explain this to me. I just bought our first EV car, Subaru, now Tesla fired its entire like supercharging team, and yet you're right, there are a lot of Tesla chargers available. What's the deal with that? I don't. Is there a story
So,
there?
yeah,
Why did they fire that
Tesla-
team?
Tesla lobbied and fought to get theirs as the
Under Biden.
standardized
Under Biden?
under Biden, but they with the companies actually, like all the other EV companies, they've all sort of coalesced around we'll adopt the Tesla charger configuration as the standard for our
This
cars.
is almost like the difference between like charging an Android and an Apple and an iPhone.
Exactly. It's like USB-C or
Right.
Lightning, like
Right.
it used to be, right? And now
No more
everything's
Lightning.
USB-C.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Tesla. And then immediately afterwards, Elon Musk went like red pill nuts politics.
No one's buying Teslas anymore.
and fired his entire team. No
Yeah.
one wants a Tesla.
Yeah.
They're not building out. In fact, he got a government grant to build it out, and nobody knows what happened to it because he doesn't have a team to actually build it out.
well,
So
how about a perfect real world example of not capitulating to these maniac CEOs who this is a question for let's talk about a stakeholder question. You should be making these decisions for the stakeholders, for the customers, for the car drivers, not for Elon Musk, because now we're in a situation where he's fired the supercharger team. No one's buying Teslas, not on the road. So as a Subaru owner, I am now being my question is, do I buy this? I have to buy an additional adapter.
yeah, you got to buy an adapter.
to charge on a I mean, the whole thing is stupid. It's moronic. But the point is, the EV, the network is growing despite the fact that Trump is trying to kill it. So what do you think about that?
I think that's good. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a 6.
It does feel like a 6. Here's another one that you can probably go quickly on because I feel like you're not going to care. Companies with climate targets have more than tripled.
I love a good
since-
target.
Since 2023, the number of companies worldwide with both validated near-term and net zero science-based climate targets has more than tripled since the end of 2023, according to the Science-Based Targets Initiative.
It's fine, 5. It's
Well, there's
good that
no-
we have targets, but you
And
know
there's
that
no-
climate change is literally killing us all now, like currently.
And a lot of these targets are in the distant future,
yeah,
and there are no penalties if you don't reach these targets. Let's be real.
Yeah, 'cause
the
we
penalty
found-
is on us, the people. Like the
we actually
stakeholders.
way back in the day when we did a different show called The Market Medium, we did a show where we covered basically climate restatements, where people would just like change their target numbers and not announce it, like there was nothing, and that happens all the time. So I guess fine, 5.
All right. 2 more for the good game. Air Canada reaches a deal to end flight attendant strike. The tentative deal secures Air Canada flight attendants at least 60 minutes of ground pay for their time before each flight, and then also raising their hourly rate 12%. Isn't that crazy? This is something I just learned over the past few years because. Hats off to the unions, flight attendant unions. They actually they're pretty strong. Not just at Air Canada, other airlines. The flight attendants, unless they fight for this right, they're not getting. When you see them doing stuff, greeting, cleaning, making coffee, all the stuff they do, like talking to people about their bags, all before the flight takes off. They call it ground time. They're not getting paid for that.
That is insane.
How?
I would
How?
actually not.
How?
I would say I
How?
am not on the clock until we're
How?
in the air.
How?
Figure your
Really?
own fucking shit out. Right? Like,
Incredible.
it's really
what
nuts.
kind of a speaking of like Korean chaebols, what's going on with the
I don't
CEOs
know.
of the airline industry that they colluded for this bullshit?
We
I mean,
need
that's
to
crazy.
Stop flying. That's what happened. Like it's
Not to
nuts.
mention that the amount of stories that we're covering where people, gate agents, flight attendants are getting just harassed, punched.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
all the
nuts.
air rage. This is nuts. They don't get paid for that.
I don't know. Like I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but like
Yeah.
it does feel like there's a
How?
deep rage
How?
economy happening that I don't fully understand.
Well, once
And-
again, a profession, you don't want to be in a profession that is a majority women. You don't want to be there because you're going to get shit rights.
and you don't want to be in a profession in which you're giving someone a service and everyone's annoyed about your service no matter what you do. It
You
doesn't
think those
matter
people
if
would get paid more. Yeah.
Like, I got to give this a 7. I'm glad that they got something, but
It's probably not
feel like
enough.
it's
It's
such
probably
a
not
shit
enough.
job.
It's something. Yeah.
If they agreed to it, it means they didn't get everything they wanted, but they got something. I don't know.
And finally,
fine.
let's just end on let's just call this like rate this for how good he is as a brother. Let's just say that how good he is
Oh.
as a brother.
You're trying to get a 10 out of this. I
Yeah,
don't
the
know what
final
this is.
headline for the Good Game, August 27, 2025, is this classic headline. I mean, I can't make this crap up. Kimball Musk on Elon's Tesla pay package. Now, let's not laugh at Kimball Musk. He is
Why?
actually, because somehow investors have allowed him to, he is a board member on
Yeah. He's on the board.
Kimball Musk
you wanna-
somehow has the expertise to be a board member at one of the more complicated U.S. companies that does things like humanoid
panels,
robots, and
robots,
self-driving,
AI, self-driving cars.
and not that they're good at anything. Maybe
He
because
ran a
Kimball's
restaurant once, though.
Maybe because Kimball is wasting his space on the board, but somehow he is actually a board member here. But here's what he says: Kimball Musk on Elon's Tesla pay package, which is they have a new one that's worth about almost $30 billion. He says, "quote My brother deserves to be paid." End
Yeah.
quote. Does he?
Just a just a
Kimball,
quick side
you
note.
dope. You're such a dope.
I went to a
My
conference that was
brother.
full of directors.
Yeah.
Like and investors. It was a director and investor. These directors, if you think they don't know their investors, they 100% do. They go to conferences together. They have calls together. These people know each other. I was in a room with all of them, and they know each other. And one of the questions that came up, it was like a closed room meeting, was about like the Kimball Musk problem, like having the brother on the board. I had one tell me like confidentially, they didn't want like to me to quote them in any way, that the reason why they're okay with Musk being in the room is the thought was he's the only one who can control Elon's ketamine intake and talk to him.
No. Someone
I'm not
said that?
I'm not kidding.
Why?
Someone
What-
said this is a
what
massive,
makes him think that's even true, though?
this is a massive
But where?
institutional
Okay,
investor.
but where are the facts for even that?
It doesn't matter what the facts are. The facts
Just what
are
they believe.
that a massive institutional investor with hundreds of billions of dollars in allocation who votes on every director in the world, their analysis of the Tesla board was not they're performing. It was the only reason why this guy is there is because no one else can talk to Elon.
Right,
And that
because-
guy can keep him from doing too many drugs so he can get through a meeting.
Yeah, obviously
That was
someone
a
who didn't.
legitimate analysis.
Obviously, someone who didn't study psychology at college, because since when is it easy to control your family members? Isn't that
It's
the hardest people to
impossible.
control?
You ever go to a Thanksgiving dinner in this country?
Especially your brother. Imagine just telling your brother what to do and they listen. I mean,
I'm
come
giving this
on.
a 10 for the joke of it. That's what it has to, because you want a 10.
Well,
I'm going to give it a 10.
and I
for the
don't know
joke
if
of
I'm
it.
mad or happy that the audacity that Kimball Musk refers to him as his brother, but really he should be referring to him as the CEO on the
Yeah, he's a board
board at
member.
which I sit, where I'm
Yeah.
a board member providing independent oversight.
Yeah.
But maybe I should be proud that he just says, "Yeah, he's my brother." Like I don't care. I mean,
He's my
anyway,
brother. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm here. Go
That's
pay
the good
man.
game. Oh,
That's it.
Matt, what I'm most proud of is just the consistency of our scoring on this game. So in June, your score was a 6.3. In July, your score was a 6.3. And now in August, your score is a 6.4.
Wow. I'm getting happier.
Incredible consistency.
I'm getting happier.
Yeah.
That's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rollins. I'm your analyst, Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. This was our Tuesday show on a Wednesday because of technical difficulties, but we'll be back on Friday to wrap the week. Next week, everything starts up again. Shareholder Primacy, the podcast with Mike Levin and Ann Lipton.
Wow.
Boots back up next Wednesday. Their new show. I think they're covering Intel actually, and they're way smarter than we are.
Will
It's
they talk
actually
about
law
Uncle
professor,
Herschel?
activist
Uncle
investor.
Herschel and Cracker Barrel. Will they talk about that?
I don't think Cracker Barrel will come up. I'm hopeful. But we're going to start up the proxy countdown again. Tis the season. If you haven't gotten our zine, we're getting emails saying, I love the zine. Like, this is the best way to consume
Why
this
would you not
content.
love the zine?
It is a tongue-in-cheek shout out to punk magazines, fanzines in the 1980s and 90s, but it's all governance information. It's all headlines. get on freeflowanalytics.com, sign up with an email, you'll get the zine. That's the only email you'll get from us, just the zine. Until then, goodbye.